look at the invitations.
Leave this here.
Oh, this is weird. Wait a minute. Okay. This is one of the invitations. This is not the North Star.
Yes,
I had put that
literally
in.
what she gave me.
To my initial thought, because I thought it was good to put it. I did. That's what I added. Do you think I should take it back out? That's right there. Just take it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
If that's
Glad I looked
just
at that.
take
Do you have a
page out of
pen?
there.
No, because I have.
You have other stuff. Yes, I do. But
I have Father's Day. I just wanted to remember that it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. You don't think I should say something about it?
of course you should. I think you got to say whatever you want. If you have a good joke, you know, that'll warm the crowd up. Well, I was a little bit crying because the other bee took his honey and nectar. I think we're going to have to resort to that, Sandy, right? Petty cash. Okay.
Are you going to be wearing a staple shirt too?
Yeah, because you'll be talking. You'll be busy.
I'm going to say it.
Right.
I'm saying it. You're doing it.
Right.
Distraction.
Right. No, I mean, two times.
We don't want that garbage in there. Get out of there. Thank you. I have no idea how long this is going to be. Do you?
I hope it's short.
Oh, who's going to be responsible for the dimming of this guy?
Whoever reads the poem.
Just wait a little bit.
Okay. At the end of the poem, you can say, let's enter into silence. If you want to talk, please stand. And we'll give you the microphone. And burning that clock, we should kick off.
And who's going to?
You kick off.
Don't we start at 10:30?
In the summer?
This is my first
10.
summer service. 10?
10.
So I should do it now?
Right. Let's just check. Joe, check with Claire, because I'm sure it's true. But we do this together.
I know, I like doing it together.
It's a wonderful thing, Brad.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief. We're gathered here on this slightly cold June morning, and let us enjoy our time together and be glad that we are here. My name is Brett Summers, and my partner is Rick Richards, and we're with Diana Cole and Claire Rosenbaum. Diana is our singer, and Claire is our pianist, both crucially important parts of what happens this morning. If you are new, we extend a special greeting, which is also partly by way of caution. This is a summer service devised and performed by the congregation while our minister begins a summer of rest and relaxation to recharge for next year. As such, these services are more diverse than usual, and a little like that box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. We hope you find something tasty.
The text of this poem is by Emily Dickinson, and she did not like to title her poem, so I call it, "Will There Ever Be a Morning?" which is the first line.
And now we light our chalice, and the words for the chalice lighting are in your order of service. This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights the way toward harmony, justice, and hope for all. Oh, sorry. And we also have our sabbatical chalice lighting, where the words are also in your order of service. We light this flame to send and receive blessings, warmth, and light to Reverend Roger until his safe return this fall. Now we're going to share our covenant. You're invited to join to recite, and you do not have to if you'd rather not. It's up to you. Again, you'll find the words in your order of service. We, the members of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the light we know by many names, and with gratitude for our deep connection to each other and to the larger web of existence, covenant to walk together in our search for truth, seeking the paths of wisdom, compassion, and justice.
I would like to begin our service with a few words about the format we'll be working in. Last summer, we had a service in call and response, which struck me as a powerful form of group communication. In call and response, two parties, me or whoever's standing up here, and all of you, play back and forth. I lead by calling out, you respond to the call and complete it. It is with this dynamic of leading and completing that we communicate as a community. Often in a worship service, the call and response is tightly scripted and requires no thought, as in, peace be with you, and with you. In this mode, neither the call nor the response require careful consideration, thoughtful contemplation, or mindful speaking. So, what if the response required careful consideration, contemplation, and thoughtful speaking? That, after all, sounds like the Unitarian way, and that is what I want to try this morning. I intend to read you a poem as a call-out, and I ask you to carefully consider the poem and perhaps thoughtfully speak about the poem as your response. A few words about responding to a poem. Give the poem a little time to sink in. You have the poem printed in the order of service if you want to refer to it. As it sinks in, pay attention to how the poem makes you feel, and let your response be about whatever feelings rise in you. Please refrain from making your response about how the poem is made, the words, the phrases, the couplets, rhymes, alliterations, or whatever else is used to craft the poem. Let your response be about what the poem is as you experience it. After the reading, there will be a time of silence for you to absorb the call. Then after this time of silence, if you want to respond out loud, stand, and we will bring a microphone to you. Unfortunately, we'll only have time for a small number of responses, just because we have to get through this whole thing today. I hope to repeat this cycle 3 times in our service. So let's begin.
Starlings fly in murmurations. Perhaps you've seen this. I have out on Route 6 on my way to Target. These clouds of birds, and you can see the picture, actually, that Nancy chose right on the order of service. In a murmuration, group coherence and mobility is achieved by each bird paying close attention to other birds. People who study starlings say starlings do this by being in close contact with about 6 other birds. Because each of the 6 birds is connected with 6 other birds, and so on, you can see how huge flocks can be closely connected. Every starling calls out and responds to several other starlings. This holds huge flocks together, even though no bird is directly connected to much of the flock.
are starlings in flight. Perhaps you have seen it. Thousands of birds swooping through the air, stopping on an airborne dime, doubling back, flowing through the air, a racing river of life. They are starlings, not a bird I find noble or interesting or even beautiful in their ordinary way. But all that changes as they take to the air in an immense swarm. This is when starlings become beautiful, breathtaking, and the rest of their lives is forgotten, forgiven, as they mount their murmuration. Of course, the bird people had to name this astounding thing starlings do, and I believe murmuration expresses their admiration and joy. I used to wonder how they do it. Fly so close, so fast, change direction without a false move. I now know the explanation is that they pay close attention to one another. Amazing what close attention can do. If you watch a while, the flock is not in lockstep. You see some starlings vying to lead, others shooting off, lost, like some friends I treasure. Still others drift through the flock, probably looking for birds they know. And some tire, drift out of the flock, and settle for the night, leaving the wild murmuration for younger wings. Let's give this a moment of silence.
If you'd like to respond, stand, and Rick will bring you the microphone.
Hello. Well, I like starlings. I know they're supposed to be like, get out of here, bird, stop eating the bird food. But it looks like there's not really a leader in the starling world. Everybody just has to kind of look out for each other, but at the same time, just kind of have your eyes open at all times. You don't, like they said, there's people that always want to be a leader, right? And they're doing their own, basically just do your own thing. Do your own thing and be mindful about the people around you. Try to always be, what's the word? I don't know. I'm not much of a talker, but I think it's basically just be mindful about the people around you. Do your own thing. Don't worry about your 5 friends, or 6 friends, or whatever. I don't know. I feel like if we just have a playful heart, I guess, and just do your thing, and I don't know, always be mindful about the people around you. You don't want to be bumping into people, messing up their day, hurting their eye, I don't know, that's how I think. There might be another way. Thank you.
So we sort of honor the individual in this country, but this talks to us about how that we really need to work together.
Who is over here? Okay.
There were many murmurations of humans yesterday all over the world, and it was a delight to be part of them. And so I met at least 5 or 6 new people, and everyone was very, very polite, helpful, conscious of who was around them. It was delightful. And it feels good to be part of a community here and in the greater world that feels as we do.
Hi. Yeah, I get the group connection, and there's some individuality in here too, which I like. You know, others shooting off just like some friends I treasure, and some leave the murmuration for younger wings. So it's a mixture of group and individuality, which I appreciate. Thank you.
So when I was 12 years old, I raised a starling during the months of June and July. And then towards late July, he flew away. And in the autumn of that year, I would see the starlings that lived in Colorado in the plains flying up and doing their murmuration. And I thought of my little bird. But he also had a lot of personality. It's amazing. It's fun to see intelligence in other creatures. And I guess murmuration is another sign of intelligence.
Chris?
What Barbara said about yesterday.
Okay, so you're repeating it. Wonderful. I did the introduction. There we go. We have musical meditation. In haiku, a Japanese form of poetry, the stream of consciousness is stopped at a carefully chosen moment, setting up a call and response between being and not being. What is being? Usually, I plan and problem solve using thinking to guide myself. When I operate this way, my being is dominated by active cognition, by thinking, which we call being. In this sense, I literally am because I think. What is non-being? There are times when I stop active thinking and absorb the world. I can see and hear, but I do not think about what I see or hear. I am sentient, alive, but not being in the world of thought.
White seashore. On the white line of seashore, a person stands, nearly black against the color-bleached sea. Nearly black as is a distant buoy and an even more distant line of island under the toneless sky. And I, who cannot hear the low lapping of muted waves, the muffled hissing of gravel, know everything is silently murmuring, murmuring. We'll take a minute.
Well, it's a beautiful poem, and I find that the state that you describe so well is something that I find when I'm in nature. And I was thinking about that as I was listening to the poem, that this connection of body, our bodies, and when we're in nature we have form and we have color and texture, and it seems we can sink into it and get in that state. And interesting, because meditation is sometimes thought about being in our mind and letting go of sensation, but I find for myself that that's where I find my deepest meditation is in nature, where I can feel part of a body in the world and of being.
Initially, I felt shocked, distressed that the person speaking couldn't hear the sound of the waves. And then I stepped back from that and thought, we know more than we perceive from our senses, and that is spirit is an understanding without perceiving. And that's where I settled with this poem.
I was 36, and I was in great distress at a train station in Boston, Rosendale Square, the commuter rail station. And I have a tendency to just talk to strangers. I learned it from my mom, just have conversation with whoever's around you. And I was talking about, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that and I have to figure this out and I have to figure, like I'm, like.
Michael?
We lost it. Oh, no, just me. So I was at this train station talking to a woman randomly and just, I need to figure this out. I'm doomed, and how am I going to do this, and I don't have enough money, and blah, 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 this. And just a flow of distress. And she stopped me, this stranger, and she says, instead of doing something, why don't you just be? And that is the first time anyone ever said something like that to me. And so she kind of stabbed through my mental blah, and I actually stopped. And I stopped and I paused and I had that moment like, oh, it was just an oh. Like it just, oh.
All right, this poem actually sank in with my personal life because it looks like this person's like kind of like disassociating from everything. Like it's like me trying to go to the beach and you could see the beauty in it, but you kind of just get lost. Like you know what the sound is making, but you're not really there to focus on what's going on. And that's why I'm here. I don't want to disassociate from society anymore. I want to meet good people.
Hi. This poem makes me think of how much of life goes on without us, beneath us, around us, and we don't really know about it. And we tend to think of ourselves as like the center of the universe, but we're not, and it's a very humbling poem. Thank you.
The world calls out to us in many ways, most of which are benign. But Randy Newman has a song called "It's a Jungle Out There" with the lines, "You better pay attention, or this world what you love so much might just kill you." I can think of times when the world almost killed me, when I was left realizing that if things had gone just a little differently, I wouldn't be around to tell the story. I don't usually think about how the world can call out to me in deadly ways. Nonetheless, whether I think about it or not, the world can kill me. What can our response be to a world that can kill us?
Blessing the boats. It is not a blessing of the fleet. There is no fleet, only boats. And the boats are not blessed together. Each boat is blessed until all the boats are blessed, wholly blessed, all rocking together. And each boat is blessed, not as some magical protection from fate or weather's fury, but as a reminder that the ocean and sky and wind and weather love each boat. Love is not protection. It is something better. Love is not protection. It is a reminder that whatever happens with the wind, sky, ocean, and weather does not come from malice. It happens. It may destroy a boat and all those aboard, but not for the purpose of harming anyone or anything. That is the blessing. This is a hard blessing to keep in mind. So, boats are blessed every year. Have a moment of silence.
I want to represent the relationality of boats to one another. And I think, when I think of sailing on a just right breezy day, I think of the starlings and how comforting it is to see other boats on the same tack with the same wind. How wonderful that is. And almost in sync without meaning to be, but we follow each other to be headed in the right direction with just the right set of sail. And then, when the wind picks up, which it often does, especially off the shores of Rhode Island, where it gets a little dicey, I think of the last line of the Starlings poem. And some tire, drift out of the flock and settle for the night, leaving the wild murmuration for younger wings.
I'm reminded that it's said that the amount of salt that we have in our veins is exactly the same percentage of salt as in the ocean.
My reaction to this was, it was a reminder that I think we all need to sort of renew our blessing periodically, whether it's weekly here, or whether it's daily, or whether it's once a year, or whatever interval it happens to be. But just we need to be conscious that it does need to be renewed periodically. Our sense of what the world owes us, which is basically nothing, but it provides us with wonderful things, and what we owe the world in return. We just need to remind ourselves every once in a while that that's what it's all about.
Okay, I just was really struck by the line, love is not protection, it is something better. I've sometimes seen the idea of love weaponized, and so it's like nice to have a reassurance of the like transient and like effort and the reminder that love has to be, not a fixed state of being.
It makes me think, sometimes in life things just happen, it's not personal, it's just things happen, and sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're good, but, it's not that somebody's personally attacking you, and even sometimes when somebody is personally attacking you, it's, a lot of times they're just confused or they're just angry. It may not have anything to do with you.
Both the first and the last poem are about individuals in a group and their church. They describe church in different ways. They describe the way we are individuals and how we all have our own paths, but the way we all move together and are subject to the same rules as the world puts on anyone. To me, there's a beauty in being able to let go. There's a beauty in able to know that somebody else is picking up the slack and that you're still included.
So to me, the blessing the boats is, the way I perceive it is a lot about just letting go of expectations, and everything falls into place. To me, it's about trusting the universe. Even when it talks about love, it's about knowing that things always have an ebb and flow. Things are going to constantly go up and down, and instead of being worried about what's going to happen tomorrow or how soon our boat is going to capsize, we can actually just enjoy the water. Yeah.
I heard a reminder when things get rough to look for the love rather than focus on the malice, which is so easy to be attracted to. So, thank you.
As the mom of two Generation Z young women who right now are very mad, very frustrated, this poem to me seriously represents, as a parent, what you have to teach your children, especially your adult children. You wish you could keep them in your little fleet of love, but they go out into the world and all kinds of really unfortunate things happen. And certainly now for two young women, these are frightening times. So it's a beautiful poem.
standing, but I don't.
Someone all the way in the right, back to the right, Rick.
To the right. Okay, there we go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What I take from that poem is, I think regardless of the storm, the weathers, the wind, I think for me, I see it as long as you have faith, trust, and believe, you're protected.
What I take from this poem is that though we look for protection, I interpret protection as safety, and that's not what it means. We are loved, but by being loved, we also take responsibility and know that the end will come, and that is not malice, that is life and death.
Just before our musical interlude, I am noticing that nowhere in our program does it say who the poems are by, and I did want to just acknowledge Rick. These are his poems. This is the time in the service where we share the joys and sorrows of members of our congregation. Before the service, anyone can write in the book, which sits at the back of the church, the meeting house. Our partner church in Transylvania carved the beautiful candlestick for the large candle from which we light all of the votives for our joys and sorrows. Excuse me. Peter Van Erp lights a candle, for on this day in 1215, King John signed the Magna Carta. This was the first time the sovereign acknowledged the rights of his subjects. Janet B. lights a candle because in the 1960s, this church formed voluntary families, multi-generational, committed to staying together. We did for over 60 years. We've lost Charlotte, Hope, Shirley, Hans, Don, Sarah, Anne, Stan, Helen, and yesterday Mel. We said goodbye to Judy and Paul. Good memories, a good family. Let us rest in gladness that we have each other to share in our joys and sorrows. I have a reading for our meditation, after which there will be a time of silence. During the time of silence, if you have lost someone close to you in the past year, you may stand or raise your hand in silent witness. These words come from the great American poet Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. This is the time to contribute to what we can to First Unitarian. The church does a lot of good right here in our community and also at large in Rhode Island. Please support it however generously you are able. Those of you here visiting our church for the first time, your presence is gift enough. Thank you for all that you do, all that you are, and all that you give.
The refrain once, I'm sure you'll pick it up. Do please join me.
We have some invitations. Before I read those, I just want to thank Rick for volunteering to be our first summer service speaker this summer, and also thank you for your patience with me, because this is my first summer service. Okay. Well, this summer is going to be guided by a theme, which is being guided by the North Star. The worship committee, which Dave Anthony and I head up, decided that it would be nice to have a theme to unite the summer services and also kind of lead us through times of trouble. The North Star guides you through darkness and helps you find your way. The North Star may shine within you, an inner place you can turn to in times of trouble, confusion, or chaos. We all need a North Star, especially right now. Come back next week to hear Michael Currier talk about what guides him. And as I said, since it was my first time being here for the summer service, I completely forgot. If we can just turn around and just say hi to anybody who might be. I know, it's at the end. We're kind of saying goodbye, but we're also saying we know you've been there all along. So thank you for being here. The last exhibition of the year in the atrium will be installed this week with the opening reception on Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30 in coordination with Gallery Night in Providence. This is a member show with 40 members of Art in the Atrium sharing work that celebrates the natural world. Light refreshment will be served. Come see this wonderful exhibit, which will remain open until September 5th. But again, come to the opening, which is on Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30, right? Don't get confused by the September 5th thing. Don't forget that next weekend is Pride Weekend. Okay, wait. I'm going to say it again. Are we ready? Is everybody ready? Don't forget, next weekend is Pride Weekend. Yeah. Yes. We start on Saturday here at First U with a worship service at 10 a.m. The full schedule was in your Friday First U Times, and it is not too late to volunteer. Speak to Holly Dobbs or call the office if you have questions. Let's show our First U pride, and don't forget to wear your t-shirt. And finally, remember to read your First U Times every Friday so you don't miss important information.
Our parting words. Wherever we are, whatever we do, we are calling out and we are responding to calls that come to us. Let us not forget to pay attention to how we do this. Let us make our responses to the calls we hear be as true to ourselves as we can make them. Let our calls and responses be loving. Let them be fair to the claims of others, and let them spark joy. No matter where we are or what we are doing, in whatever ways possible, let our calls and responses bend the arc of the universe towards love, fairness, and joy.
This is our chalice extinguishing. Please join me if you would like. We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again.